Well, hello, DMV, that is DC, Maryland, Virginia, and the rest of the world. I am Steve Houk, and welcome to another edition of Living on Music here on ZTV. Very, very excited. It doesn't get any better than our guest tonight, Cindy Blackman Santana, one of the great artists out there, and just an incredible lady. And also married to my longtime idol in television, in music, Carlos Santana. But we're going to talk to Cindy in just a minute or two. First, I wanted to talk again, as I've done every show in these 5 months here on ZTV, about NIVA, the National Independent Venue Association, hashtag Save Our Stages. If you haven't gone there already, please do. And you want to go to nivassoc.org. You can see the link scrolling across. You just type that in and go to it, and you hit take action, and you begin your ride to help venues across the country try to stay afloat. There was a letter that was sent by hundreds of artists to the government to try to get this NIVA to try to get this bill passed to help these independent venues. They had a line in there that said, "We are asking you to support NIVA's request for assistance so these beloved venues can reopen when it's safe and welcome us and our fans back in." The collapse of this crucial element in the music industry's ecosystem would be devastating. So that is something that that you can do to try to do your part to help venues. And this letter was signed by people like the Foo Fighters, Willie Nelson, Billie Eilish, Mavis Staples, Jimmy Buffett, Lady Gaga, Neil Young, David Letterman, Jerry Seinfeld, Billy Joel. I mean, just an incredible, you can go on, Alabama, Earth, Wind and Fire, Carol Burnett. I mean, some incredible people from across all different types of entertainment is the power of this potential support from the federal government to independent venues across the United States. So go to NIVA at this site and go to take action and go into to help save our stages. I want to do a shout out, as I try to do every week now, to all of my guests that have been on for the past 5 months. This has been such an incredible experience, and we're just getting rolling. It's so fun to be able to do this. And I just want to, again, say a huge thank you to all of the guests that have been here across the board. Speaking of those guests, I am really excited with some music that has just come out from at least two of my buddies who have been on Living on Music with me. That would be Tommy Lepson and Dave Chappell. Those guys and a bunch of great musicians along with them have done a really wonderful song written by Tommy. We talked about it actually on our show here on Living on Music. It is something else. It's Social Distance Blues. And this was Dave and Tommy. It was John Previty, John Tomakos, Mark Wenner, just a great group of guys, musicians who did this. The vocals were recorded at Area 51 Studios, and the video was cut by Rip Bang Pictures, which is Dick and Linda Bangham's company, a great, neat company, and they do some really cool work. And this video is really something. I urge you to go find it and watch the whole thing. We're going to watch a couple of minutes right before we go into my interview with Cindy Blackman Santana. But this is what some of the artists out there have found to be able to do, is to continue to write music. Some of it has to do with the pandemic-oriented things, like Ali Handel, one of my other guests, and some other people wrote stuff that had a little bit of an edge to it. This is really fun, so what we're going to do is we are going to roll Social Distance Blues in a little bit for you, and then we're going to jump right into my interview with Cindy Blackman Santana. Let's hear some Social Distance Blues.
Well, I woke up this morning, people. I had this little tune that came in my head, so I figured I better record it before it goes out of my head, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Kind of goes like this. Yeah, woke up this morning, put on my walking shoes. Yes, I woke up this morning, put on some traveling shoes. Oh, I feel so low, I got those social distance blues. All right. Wanna see my woman? miss her so much. She's my baby, she's got the magic touch. Well, I woke up this morning, feel like I got nothing to lose. Feeling so low, I got no social distance blues. There's something else here. Can't go to work, can't do my gig, about to lose my cool. People gonna flip my way. Woke up this morning, which way should I choose? How am I gonna go? Well, broke down and busted, got them social distance blues. Only 6 feet, that's just a couple of yards. A mask is a must, though it's not Halloween. Just a fist bump for you, brother. I gotta keep my hands clean. Things getting better, better yet I know. But here I am stuck in this bad reality show. Well, I woke up this morning, put on my walking shoes. Yeah, got more dust than dollars, got them social distance blues. Broke down and busted with them social distance blues.
Well, about 3 years ago, right around this time of year, I had the true privilege of interviewing my guest tonight, the astounding Cindy Blackman Santana, and it was an absolutely wonderful talk about her amazing career. I mean, working with people like Lenny Kravitz, Angela Bofill, Vernon Reid, Jack Bruce, too many to name. The list goes on. And of course, through the past decade, as drummer for the band Santana, led by a guy whose name escapes me. Her guitar icon husband and one of my lifelong idols, Carlos Santana. Well, soon after that interview 3 years ago, I caught Santana and Cindy and Carlos and the Doobie Brothers at this place behind me, which is Jiffy Lube Live in Bristow, Virginia. It's about 40 minutes from where I'm sitting right here, right now. And what a fabulous show. Every minute of it is my 10th or 11th Santana show, I believe. And wow, that drummer was sensational. I was supposed to see Cindy and Carlos and Santana and Earth, Wind, and Fire. And I had interviewed Philip Bailey right before the pandemic, so I was going to probably be able to meet Philip and hopefully then meet Cindy and maybe even Carlos about a month ago at this same venue right here. But of course, as we know, it was one of 3 shows, including The Dead and Company, that were canceled at that place in August that we weren't able to see. It was another casualty of this crazy time we're in. But although many musicians I have talked to right here and elsewhere have been truly stifled by this pandemic, it hasn't seemed to completely set back my amazing guest tonight, as far as at least moving forward. In fact, to use an appropriate image, as you will see on her video from a song from her new record, she has caught the barrel of an incredible wave and is soaring and is about to release her new record, Give the Drummer Some, on September 18th, proving that some musicians can move forward and succeed and do things in this pandemic, even though it was a 3-year ride on this record. Let's get to it. Please welcome to Living on Music, the incredible Cindy Blackman Santana. How are you, Cindy?
Hey, I'm great. Thanks for having me. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I am. It's great. We talked 3 years ago. It was so wonderful to kind of get a sense of you and kind of your career and working with Lenny and then Carlos and things like that. First of all, let's talk for a second about how you've been these last 5 months as a musician, as a touring musician, obviously, with your husband and band and also your own solo career. How have you been? How are you getting through?
Well, there's been no touring, so, that hasn't been happening, unfortunately.
Right.
But, I love playing my drums. I love practicing. So for me, I focus in on that. I've been doing some writing and was doing a lot to prep for this record to come out.
Right.
4 videos to do for the record and no team to do them with.
Right.
So I learned a lot. I had to learn how to shoot myself and to shoot Carlos, for these videos. So
Right.
how to do that, and I was helping with the editing. We had great editors, and I was helping with the editing a little bit, and then just put it in the hands of the professional guys. But
Right.
Do that, and we had done a couple of live events. So I had to learn how to record Carlos's guitar, which is
Wow.
actually was very easy because he
Cool.
knows what he wants. So he said, "Oh, put the mic here and turn it that way and do this and do that." I'm like, "Okay."
Well, he hasn't been doing this for that long, so it's a surprise,
Yeah.
I love that. Has there been anything that you hadn't done before, like even in your personal life, that you have done in the pandemic? Like some people I know have started cooking differently or gardening. Is there anything off the beat like that?
No, I've just been focusing in on the things that I normally would do, and
Right.
being able to really focus on them much more and much more poignantly. So,
I love that.
apart from recording his guitar, which I had never done, and then shooting video, which I hadn't done to this degree. The other things are, I study a lot. So I study music a lot. I also study metaphysics, so I take classes.
Right.
So I've been able to really hone in on those classes, the meditations that we do, and the studies that we do, and really get to, being here where I'm at right now in Hawaii. You get to really feel nature. So I've been able to really connect with the vibrational frequency of the earth,
Right.
which is really wonderful. I never really have time to do that on this level because we're touring so much, we're moving so much, but being sedentary, or rather being still, being in place,
Right.
I'm able to do that. So this is, there are some silver linings to this
Yes, there are.
interesting period that we're facing.
Yeah, now you were married in Hawaii, right? In Maui.
Yes, we were. Yeah.
That's great. Is there another connection you have to Hawaii, or you just found it to be so special you've gone back and live?
No other connection than that, and I had actually never been to Hawaii before coming to
Right.
Maui with Carlos, and then we decided to get married there. And we wanted to take a break and give ourselves a little vacation 2 years ago. And he said, "Well, have you ever been to Kauai?" And I said, "No, I've not been there. Never even heard of it."
Mhm.
And he said, "Well, why don't we try that? It's it's different than Maui. It's different than Honolulu. It's different than the other islands." So we came here for a month, and we both fell in love with it. And then we decided, you know what? We need to live here.
Right. That's a nice decision to make. I mean, I went 2 years. As I was saying, we have family there in Maui, a new grandson, and it is a place that is different from anywhere on Earth. And you've been to a lot of places on Earth, and Hawaii is. In our chat 3 years ago, we went pretty deep into your career, and I loved so many of the anecdotes, being a little girl and a child, and tapping almost in the womb, it seemed, for sure. And also your mentorship by people like Tony Williams, and your amazing relationship with Art Blakey. We talked about the Lenny run and the amazing audition when you walked in and blew everybody away after taking a nap. Those stories are so fantastic. Your evolution with Carlos, but I am here today to, drum roll please, give the drummer some. And so we're going to give the drummer some, and we're going to talk about this amazing new record. I've spent all day, no lie, listening to this. You've really, I feel like I'm in another world. You've really, as you did purposefully, you've crossed such an incredible swath of music on this piece, and it's just something else. Now, 3 years in the making. Tell me a little bit about 3 years is a good amount of time to put something together. You were a little busy. You had other things going on, but tell me why the 3 years, and are you ecstatic that it's about to release in 9 days or so, or it will be out when this airs?
I'm so happy that it's going to be released, and it took 3 years because we were on the road.
Yes,
we were traveling. We'd be away and come back, and then the people who I wanted to be involved, they also were touring and on the road. So, it took some time to coordinate schedules. And the record was ever evolving, because when I first started it, I wasn't thinking about doing anything with Narda, you know,
Right.
and that kind of evolved while this thing was happening.
Wow. Oh, that is incredible. Yeah, that's kind of a pretty amazing guy to evolve into a project. Yeah. I mean, you've got 17 tracks on this record, which is a healthy amount of tracks. I mean, I was looking at the list that I was sent and then started listening to it, and I'm like, it kept going, and I'm like, look at her. She's just doing a lot of, I mean, you really covered a lot, and it's of course got John, who is just really one of the most spectacular guitar players, along with your husband and a couple other guys in my life that I've always loved, and Kirk Hammett. And we'll get to that in a second. There was one line I read in some of the prep that talked a little bit about an exuberant, compelling, and beautifully sustained musical journey that will leave them breathless. And I kind of get that. You have a genre thing. You love to kind of cover across the swath. Why is that? And why do you love to kind of put your kind of your toe in a lot of different pools here?
I think it has to do with my upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
It has to do with my household as a child, because my dad loved jazz, so he had jazz records. My mom loved classical. She's a violinist, so she had classical, and she used to take me to concerts all the time. And usually it was just her and I. Nobody else wanted to go, so it would just be she and I going to see the symphony.
Awesome.
And then my older sister had a collection of at least 200 records, and she covered the gamut, A to Z of everything,
right.
And then my younger sister, she liked pop, and so did I, and we liked, so the things that the younger ones liked, we had, because Tracy had those. My brother, older than me, he had things that he liked, so, then that was in the house. My older sister, Anasa, she had all the stuff that she liked, so that was in the house. My parents had good things, so the house was just full of all kinds of music, and my grandmothers both played piano. My mom's mom was a classical pianist, so there was that music that she had. There was the church music. My uncle played vibraphone and sang and played acoustic guitar.
Oh my gosh!
Had all those things going
on.
I have a bunch of cousins who play guitar. A couple cousins played in the Gap Band. So. Wow. All of that. Some other cousins are great singers, and so we had a lot of stuff going on in our family circle.
Right.
So there was a lot to draw from.
And it seems to have evolved all the way to this record. I mean, it is an incredible piece. There's one song that you've done a video for with John McLaughlin. How did that song evolve, and how did your relationship with the great Mahavishnu Orchestra legend, Mr. McLaughlin? What an amazing addition to your team on this record.
Woo, absolutely. I adored John. My two favorite bands, I have three favorite bands, and the first is the Miles Davis Quintet of the 60s. And the second is Lifetime. And John McLaughlin was the guitar player, obviously, in the Lifetime band, so I love him. I love his playing, I love his innovation. And then when I got to meet him, his spirit is just so beautiful. He's just such a great person. I adore John. I adore his family. His wife and son are just equally beautiful, so he is like just a shining light in my life for the music, and as the friend that he's become, as the brother that he's become, as the, the hero figure that he's always been to me. So having him has just been incredible. And the video that I did with him is a song that he came up with called Quarantine Blues. And he wrote this song, and he asked me to sing on it and play the lyrics and write the lyrics. Write lyrics to it and sing and play drums. And at that time, I couldn't record the drums because I wasn't set up. I was waiting on the mics and stuff to arrive here in Kauai, and they weren't here yet.
Right.
So, we had to get this other, little known drummer, Michael Walden, we had to get that, to play.
Yeah, what a hack. Right.
Some guy is young enough.
Where'd you pick him up? Yeah.
Hey, we just got him somewhere, just kind of, hey, guy, can you just, pick up some sticks? Can you, I'm just kidding.
I love that.
Yeah, he's awesome. So it was great that it worked out with Michael playing. So John came up with that idea. And at first, I was talking to Narda, and I was like, yeah, I don't know, it sounds like it could be a kind of a depressing thing, quarantine blues, because everybody's kind of depressed. And then I thought to myself, no, you turn that around and you write lyrics and give a vibration that uplifts people, which is what we want to do, so that's what I try to do. And
that's We Came to Play?
No, that was
Quarantine Blues.
For the Quarantine Blues. We Came to Play, which is my record. Quarantine Blues was something that John did. The We Came to Play video, man, I'm so happy with that. I was in the studio with Matt Garrison, just bass and drums. And that was actually the first session that I did for the record, was just bass and drums. And so Matt and I were in there playing and finding some beautiful things. A lot of things I still have in the can, so they will be coming out later.
Yeah, great.
Really so beautiful. Matt's just an incredible musician.
Right.
But anyway, we had a couple things that, I was wondering if John might like them. And then I knew that Matt had played with John, and I had a chance to play with John prior to that on a Santana tour, because we played at Montreux Jazz Festival. And Carlos, knowing that I had done the Another Lifetime tribute record and toured my band with that music, with the Lifetime music, he said, you know what, why don't we do a little mini set with you guys? We put Dave Matthews and Benny with you and John, and you guys can play the Lifetime music. And I'm like, I'm not going to say no to that.
Right.
Man, absolutely. I can't wait to play that music with him. So, John said yes. So that was my first time playing with him. And then I thought, maybe he would, be into something. I don't know, but I'm going to ask him, if he would be on my record. And so, Matt and I, we collaborated on which track to send him, which ended up becoming We Came to Play. John liked it, obviously, and he played on it.
Right. Sure did.
Yeah, my goodness, boy, did he ever. He is nailing that song. He's just ripping. His ideas are incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing. I love everything that he did on there. But that's indicative of the great John McLaughlin. And he
really is. And, and you had a hand in the videos, you said, and we're going to take a look at a little clip of part of the We Came to Play video in a second. But you said you had a hand in this, and was that something new for you to delve into video production and kind of putting it out there, or is it something you've done before?
Oh, definitely a new thing. I had not done it before the record. And some of the stuff that we put in this video it's from live footage, of us playing together.
Awesome.
There's some of that is live footage, and then the stuff of me that is not live footage, just me, playing like in the studio. That's what I recorded of myself in this. I didn't record any of John in this. In fact, there's some stuff of John that his wife Ina recorded.
Yeah, that was in the house, right? When he's like playing in the house.
Ina, she's got to get some video credit. Come on, Ina. Good job.
Yeah, Ina. Yeah, that's great. Well, it's a shame this doesn't have any Hawaii feel to it, this video at all. It's like you could be standing on the beach in Kauai or Maui or somewhere and watching some of the clips here. This is a beautiful video. We're going to watch the early portion of it. This is We Came to Play, Cindy Blackman Santana, and there's John McLaughlin on there too. Wow, that that's the first piece of music that I heard from your new record, and I'm like, whoa. I mean, it's that is such a jam and such a deeply powerful piece, and then you go and you do some other things. Your drumming, of course, has been your staple. I remember you were quoted in a couple of places, and I think even in my interview with you earlier about your goal was to be a virtuoso at what you do, and you've achieved it, Cindy, and it's only going to grow because you got a lot left to do. But the jazz part on Mother Earth was like, what? I mean, this whole thing has been a beautiful ride, drum wise, on the new record and before. But apparently, there's a secret weapon that nobody, a lot of people knew about it. I knew you did an Isley Brothers song, but your vocals, and God, how beautiful! The first one I played was Imagine. You'd got Everybody's Dancing and a bunch of things. Talk a little bit about evolving your voice back out into the forefront of something like this, and also having Narada Michael Walden along for that ride when you were recording vocals.
I love singing, and I always do it around the house, whether I'm singing songs that have lyrics or whether I'm just singing melodies. Like when I listen to my favorite music, I sing the solos. I sing along with Miles. I sing along with Herbie or Wayne. I sing along with what people are playing. I sing along with Ron Carter's bass lines. Because I love the music. And Carlos heard me doing that in the car as we would take these rides where we're
love that.
Listening, and we just drive, we just go and we just listen. And I just naturally sing, it's just something that I do all the time. And he just started looking at me and he said, you need to start singing. And I was like, oh, no. And my mom used to say that to me. She used to say, oh, Cindy, you should sing. And I'm like, Mom, you're so cute. You love me. I love you too.
Right. Thanks, Mommy.
Yeah, thanks, Mommy. So cute. I love you.
That's great.
But I went for it, and so this is a very new learning curve for me.
Well,
but it's a way to express because I get to sing melodies, and though you can play the drums melodically, it's not a melodic instrument, it's a percussive instrument, so to be able to express that brings out another side of me that is it's in there because I just love melody. I love melody, harmony, and rhythm, and it's a wonderful experiment or a wonderful voyage, a wonderful journey for me to express the vocalese part because it's melody and I love melody.
Oh, and it's beautiful. You really do a beautiful job. I was so happy to hear all of it because we didn't really talk about vocals on our last interview 3 years ago. We talked largely about your other talents and how exciting that you kept something on the back burner and you've pushed it up to the front burner there, and you've really done a beautiful job. You do Imagine, which I did in my little duo like 3 weeks ago at this pipe stem because a neighbor requested it. I mean, it's played all over the world, and this, and people have done different versions of Imagine and close to what the original is. You certainly walked on a different line with this, and respectfully and just fabulously with this. And I know there's a little bit of Lenny that came into this when you guys were talking a little bit about maybe we change it up. He changed up American Woman, or other people change up things. Talk about the evolution of Imagine, and then we'll talk a little bit about Yoko.
Okay. When we were in the studio, Narda and I, we were writing all these songs, and he says, hey, if you were going to do a cover, what cover would that be? And Imagine was my first choice because I love the message. I love the simplicity of the song. I just think it's beautiful and it's timeless. And I said, but if I did it, I would want to do it differently. I would want to do like a rock version. I wouldn't want to do it the way that anybody else has done it thus far. Even though I've heard some wonderful renditions, but I wouldn't want to do it in those ways. I would want to bring something else to it. And so he said, Narda said, well, do you like Lenny Kravitz's version of American Woman? And I said, yeah, I think he did a great cover of that song. I love what he did with that. And he said, well, why don't we use that as our kind of template in terms of the guitar riff, and then we build from there.
Right.
You know, he took a bite from that guitar riff and turned it into our guitar riff. And then I laid down the drums the way that I would play to that guitar riff. And then in terms of the vocals, I phrased it the way that I felt it should be phrased with that kind of feeling, you know.
Right. And you kept fairly close to the original in terms of the melody and phrasing, but you paired off at the right places. It's a tough version to kind of go over the top with because it's John and Imagine, but you did a beautiful job melding this new sound with. It still felt like Imagine, which I think is part of your goal too.
That's part of the goal too, you know, to bring something different to it, but to certainly respect the incredible light that he shed with this song in terms of his feeling, the message, and everything that goes with it, but to bring a new kind of perspective to it, you know, a new energy to it, and something fresh enough to reawaken this message in the hearts and minds of people, you know. So I'm really happy with it. You know, we added the guitar solo that Carlos took and his playing on it, which is amazing.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. And no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace.
Yeah, I love that. I never thought I'd hear Carlos play on Imagine. I mean, wow, talk about going out of the box on Imagine. I mean, that I heard that and I'm like, oh, this is just too much to be true. Yeah, it was that was amazing. And you get a thumbs up, no less, from Yoko Lennon. I love the quote was, she loved it, and it made me so happy. As I was saying, she was one of my first interviews ever as a music journalist, and what a sweet, genuine, kind woman she is. But what a cool thing to get that accolade from her. I bet that gave you a little ping in the heart.
We were so elated because, like, I don't know if she's gonna like it. I hope she likes it. I hope she doesn't get offended, by what we did with it, because it's it's a love offering,
Right. And there's a whole charity angle for Song Aid, right, which is a new global initiative that you have helped launch with Why Hunger's Rapid Response Fund. Talk a little bit about the charity and then how Imagine decided to filter in.
Why Hunger and Song Aid are great because they are helping musicians and people in need right now, who are displaced from work. And there are so many people who have been displaced, since these lockdowns started in the U.S. in March and, all over. But, here they started in March. And so I love these organizations for that because they're not holding back and they're not waiting to help people. They're helping people immediately. So when we were approached with, possibly helping, it was a yes right away. There was no hesitation, no delay. It was a yes right away.
Right.
And, Yoko, I believe that, she's involved. And so the same for her. She wants to help people, which I love about her.
Right.
Her aim is to, and I don't want to speak for her, but just from the philanthropic works that I see of her aim is to help uplift the consciousness, the energy, and the vibration of everyone on this planet, and that's our aim.
It ties beautifully together with you, two of you, yeah.
Yes, and so we certainly felt the kindred spirit in that, and wanted to be a part of it. So when we found that she gave this song her two thumbs up, and we could also tie this in, I was asked the question, well, are you okay with giving all the proceeds to these organizations? Yes. Yes, because we want to help. This is something that we can do. We can help in that way. Absolutely. And Yoko did the same thing, So it's really wonderful to be a part of something that is so positive.
It's beautiful, and I loved her quote, which I read, and I'll read it. It said, "I'm so excited that Cindy Blackman Santana and Carlos Santana's beautiful rendition of Imagine from John's wife, nice, who's in the video, with John, of course, is helping to kick off this important campaign and bring my late husband John Lennon's vision of a peaceful world free from hunger to this critical cause." I mean, can't do better than that, my dear. I mean, that on all levels, that is a home run. Speaking of all levels being a home run. You had that guy on that song, Imagine, that Carlos guy, your husband. I don't know why. There's probably a lot of guitarists you could have got to play on that song. But you had Carlos on the record. He's on a number of songs. He helped, I guess, produce one of them or two or something. But you didn't really expect him to play on the record. Is that true? And then I love the quote, every time he'd hear something, he'd want to play. It's so great. Talk about the evolution with Carlos on this particular record.
Yes, I didn't want to assume that he would be on the record. I was very hopeful that he would want, but I wanted him to want to be on the record, not to do it out of any kind of obligation, that he might feel. And that's not his vibration anyway, to do something out of obligation. So when he said that he wanted to be on the record, I was just really happy, just completely happy, because yes, he's my husband, but he's also one of the greatest guitar players ever.
My favorite of all time, absolutely, yes.
And I certainly have complete admiration and respect for that, So I asked him, I didn't assume. I asked if he would want to be on anything, and we wrote more tracks. Narda and I did more tracks, and I would play these tracks for Carlos, and he said, "Yeah, I want to play on that." And amazing, because he just really wanted to do it. So his energy is really threaded throughout this record. The vocal things, the instrumental things. He did some production, he did some writing. So it's a wonderful gift and blessing to have his light and his energy and his vibration just streaming through this record. It's just I can't be happier.
Oh, I just love to hear that. And it's, again, it's nothing against Carlos, my all-time hero and favorite guitarist, but you would have succeeded and thrived and gone through the roof with this record anyway. From a guitarist standpoint, it's just so good, and the way the songs flow and what you've done with your vocals, it's brilliant. And you brought John McLaughlin in, Vernon Reid. You go back with Vernon, right to Spectrum Road, which probably was a pretty decent band with Jack Bruce and John Medeski and you, and geez. I mean, are you kidding? And Vernon, he does everything.
He's amazing. Vernon has, I was thinking and talking about Vernon recently, and I remember when he came to Las Vegas to record, and this is indicative of every Vernon that I've ever seen, every day that I've ever seen him. He just walks into the room and he has this big smile on his face, and it just lights up everything. He's just so incredible like that. And then, he'll just look at me and we start laughing. And I don't even know why. We just start laughing.
I love that. That's so great. And Living Colour was such a band too. Wow, were they spectacular, and just blew your minds at that time when they came out. You're like, this is, Cult of Personality was just
amazing.
Oh, just spectacular. You had, of all people, and what a wonderfully eclectic and cool addition is to have Kirk Hammett from Metallica. And I love the comment I read too about, you loved his playing, but Carlos had to say, "Come on, he'll do it." And you're like, "I don't know, Willie." And then, I mean, what was his contribution and kind of from a vibe and a soul standpoint as well as music?
Oh my goodness. I was so happy when he said that he would do it. And I've seen him play, I've seen Metallica on tour when I was on the road with Lenny. We've played on the same stage before.
Oh.
So I had a chance to see and feel the weight of his energy. You know, he's got an incredible vibration. So I've always liked his playing a lot. But it's so different from anything that I do.
Right.
I didn't expect that he would want to be on it. And that's why I was really shy and hesitant to invite him. But when I got the encouragement from Carlos and from, you know, Chad and some different people in the office, I'm like, yeah, okay, well, nothing beats failure but a try, you know.
Right.
And, you know, I love him because he is known to be, you know, this shredder, you know,
Right.
which he is.
Right.
But he's also incredibly musical. So he has a great ear and he has a great sensibility for, you know, what goes where, you know, what to play when not to play. So everything he played was completely complementary to everything that was on the track, everything that Vernon played, you know, and it just really is a tribute to his incredible musicianship.
I agree. I've seen them twice, and the two shows were so markedly different. One was just speed metal to the max, and they're just blowing your ears off. And I think I took my children, and they were probably like 8 and 4. I'm like, oh my gosh, what have I done? But it was still really fun. It was a mind blower. And then we saw them, and you could see the finesse a little bit more. You could see the things that Kirk and James and all of them bring. What a cool addition. One more real quick thing. I've kept you for so long. I really appreciate your time. You have no idea how special this is for me and for all of us in Washington and the surrounding area to have you. You said Miles earlier. I know Miles is very, very special to you. In fact, I think I listened to Kinda Blue 2 nights ago again for the 700 millionth time because it just feels good. Miles Away is, you know, a tribute between you guys. It's you and Bill Ortiz, right? Who does soloing. Tell me a little bit about Miles Away and how that evolved. I mean, that's just a beautiful thing.
You know, it's about a feeling. It's about a mood, you know, and it evolved from that perspective of the mood and the feeling. And that's what you got no matter what genre Miles Davis was playing. As soon as you heard that sound, you heard that tone, it just cast this beautiful hue and this incredible vibration that is unforgettable. And I was at Avery Fisher Hall one time, sitting in the front row with my then boyfriend, also a great trumpet player who transitioned recently, Wallace Roney. So rest in peace, Wallace. Rest in peace.
Yes.
We were sitting in the front row, and Miles walked over he quieted the band down so softly that you could barely hear them, you know, and he walked over to where we were, and he stood in front of the speaker, and he just started playing. And so we could hear his sound acoustically. And that was I've heard him play with acoustic bands, but it's always been recorded, you know, right. And I'd heard him play live, but it's always been coming through the system. I never had the joy and the honor and pleasure of hearing his sound come directly out of his trumpet, and hearing that was in the early 80s, and I still hear that sound in my head right now. It was so incredible, you know. And so the mood that he has created is just unforgettable, you know, like Nat King Cole says, it's unforgettable. You know,
yeah, totally.
You remember that always because it's so poignant. And so that was really the initiation for Miles Away. And Bill Ortiz came in, and he played so beautifully on it. You know, I really love everything that he plays. I love everything that he played so much that, you know, I gave him writing credit.
Very, very kind. That is great. I bet he'd love that. You know, that's wonderful. It's another beautiful part of this incredible next part of your journey. I know that this is a kind of a start of a new big chapter that you've really, you know, vaulted into this particular thing. What does it feel like at the moment to to not be able to go out and play all this stuff live as a solo artist. I bet it's a little bit stifling, but it also is exciting, obviously, to be putting out this record and getting your next chapter going. I'd love to see you on tour doing this record.
Thank you. There's some mixed emotions because it's frustrating to not be able to play live and share with people and feel that energy and channel that energy to people. Right. It's an incredible feeling to know that this record is about to be birthed as we speak, because it's going to release, so that is like, whew, okay, it's almost here, it's ready, it's coming, it's there,
Right.
And I don't have any children, but I can imagine that must be what it feels like when a woman is giving birth. It's all right, it's coming, baby.
Yeah, without all the pain and all the agony, you can have a record. I mean, it is a birth, and especially for you, again, having such a wonderful conversation 3 years ago when things were still wonderful and all that, but this is. You're taking it up a notch, and I'm telling you, I read where you were talking about, you wanted messages to matter as well as people having, an uplifting experience hearing this record. And I'm telling you, Cindy, you did it all. I'm going to be playing this record for my kids. I'm going to hand it off to my daughter, who's a musician, my son, who's a musician, and we'll keep it as a legacy in our family, because I think it's got that cross section of things that you've done. It's amazing. It's got social issue tributes, but it's got jams with John McLaughlin. It's got a lot of things going on. You should be very proud of it. I hope you are. You feel pretty darn good about the release of this and how it feels coming out.
I do. I'm so happy with it. I don't think I could be happier. I'm just so grateful for all the participation that we've had, with all the musicians, Carlos, John, Vernon, Benny, Kurt, Matt, Neil, all the cats, Yamina Allworld and Ray Angry, everybody who's on the record, all the engineers, Jim and Mark, and, of course, Narda's involvement,
Right.
Everybody, it's just everybody really gave their hearts to this record, and I really appreciate it. And I have to circle back to one thing, we're talking about the videos, and I don't want to overstate my involvement in the videos, because we have a great video editor by the name of John Howe, and so he really put all this stuff together, with the colorization, helping with images. We found a great photographer here in Kauai, who I met at the dojo where I studied jiu-jitsu.
Oh God, what a perfect thing. Serendipity at the jiu-jitsu place.
Yes, my teacher introduced me to him, and I'm like, do you have any videos of waves? And he said, yeah, I do. So we went from there. So, everybody's involvement really, really helped, and the way that it came together was really a godsend. So I'm just really appreciative and grateful for every speck of energy, from that to Rudy Gutierrez doing the cover work, to everything, to all the behind the scenes guys, all the guys at Universal Tone Music, everybody's been so helpful, and so generous with time, with energy, and, with giving their hearts. I'm blown away in such an amazing and good way.
Well, your kind spirit shines there again, and you get an extra gold star for me, because I've been a television producer and writer and director for 37 years, and I've worked with some of the great video editors that the country has ever seen, and they are incredible artists. And when you put things in their hands and give them an idea of where you want to go, they are. So kudos to you for remembering the editor and the guys who did that video, because it's beautiful. Cindy, you set out to do something, and to this 59-year-old music journalist, you did it. It's a beautiful piece. I can't again wait to play more of it. I wish you and Carlos, is he in Hawaii with you, or are you guys kind of back and forth through places or things like that?
Oh, we've been here since March 11th. I did some gigs in the East Coast. I did Baltimore, played at Keystone Corner, and prior to that, played at the Blue Note in New York with my band.
Oh, great.
I got back on the 9th, and we were supposed to go to Europe on the 10th. And when I arrived, Carlos said, "Well, you know what? The tour has been canceled. Do you want to?" And I said, "Yes." As I knew the next thing was, "Do you want to go to Kauai?" I'm like, "Yes."
Yeah, let's go quick.
We were out of there. We just quickly grabbed Pat and grabbed a few things, and we were gone. So we've been here since March. So we're here together. We are going to take a trip back to the mainland for a little bit. You know, we want to check in on some things. He's got a documentary that he's doing, you know, which will be great. His movie's going to come out. I'm looking really forward to that.
Fantastic.
Fans are too. It's going to be amazing, and it'll give me a chance to catch up with some family. You know, we need to do that. So.
Well, I'm so glad. My best goes out to both of you. I'm hoping someday, when this thing finally passes, we can meet in person sometime at some show. I'd love to say hello in person. And again, my heartiest congratulations on Give the Drummer Some. You know, it's a work of art. It was worth every second to get done. And when it comes out on the 18th, so it will probably be out when this airs, and spreading like wildfire, I think, into people's psyches. But they can go to cindyblackmansantana.com, and I'm sure find you all over the place. I think YouTube Music is going to have it. Everybody, Spotify. Anywhere else you want people to target at this point in life?
There are links on my Instagram account. There are links on my Facebook. There are links on Carlos's social media as well.
Right.
So it's going to be all over. Please just go support the record and support Imagine, because that's all the proceeds are going, you know, to Music Cares and Song Aids, as we mentioned earlier. And we hope you support the record for the fun that it's affording, you know, for the creativity and for the messages.
Great. My best to you, Cindy Blackman Santana. Thanks so much for being on Living on Music, and we will cross paths again, I hope.
I look forward to it, Steve. It's a pleasure talking to you all the time. I love your vibration and your energy.
Thank you.
I thank you for loving the music the way that you do.
I do. We'll see you soon. Thanks.
Looking forward. Thank you.
Well, gosh, I'm almost speechless after an interview like that, with such a dynamic talent as Cindy Blackman Santana. Thanks again to Cindy. I have admired and adored her husband for probably 45 or 50 years, and to be able to talk to her and hear about her career and how it melds in with Carlos, and just a really, really exciting interview with Cindy Blackman. Speaking of exciting interviews coming up, we've got another intense month coming up here on Living on Music. October 5th, which is this coming Monday, I am extremely excited to have Marlene Angelides, who is the internationally known award-winning singer. A few years back, was lead vocalist of the Greek pop supergroup High Five. And in 2016, she joined Les Zeppelin, and she is the lead singer for Les Zeppelin. But boy, the singing is only part of this woman's amazing career. She does voiceover translation for Disney in Greek. She's a Greek-born lady. She does a current prog-style metal project called Ascending Dawn, and she's working on her first solo EP, which will go into one of the electronica kind of vibe. So a tremendously talented lady, and she will be on this Monday, October 5th, a week from today, at 7 p.m. on Living on Music. On October 12th, very excited to welcome Soul Roots. Soul's talent stretches from, laid-back jazz, funky grooves, soulful ballads. He's got a big, deep background in raw down-home blues. I actually played JVs in Falls Church with my duo, and we actually opened for Soul, and I got to meet him briefly. But he's performed on stage and collaborated with Taj Mahal, Kenny Wayne Shepherd. He's just a really, really talented guy, and they're playing some outdoor gigs. In fact, they have one coming up at Epicure Cafe in Fairfax up on the roof. So go to Epicure Cafe and find it online, and you can go see Soul play before the interview. I believe it's this week, and we'll find that out. October 19th, extremely excited to have Gary Olsey and Michael Jaworek from the Birchmere, one of my favorite places on this planet. I'm going to have Gary, who is the founder of the Birchmere in 1966, and we're going to talk about the evolution of the Birchmere and kind of how it developed into this iconic respected and revered music venue across the country. Everybody I interview who goes there, and that's why I know these guys very well. I interview a lot of the artists that play at the Birchmere, and whenever we mention that they're playing there, each one of them to a T says they love the venue. They love working with Michael and Gary and John Brenniger and all these amazing people that work at the Birchmere. So we're going to go Birchmere, deep on the Birchmere and find out how they're doing. They are open. They have some limited seating. I had a friend, Jim Prendergast, went and saw the NXS tribute band the other night, and it is interesting to see people out, but I'm sure the Birchmere is doing whatever they can to be safe. So we'll be talking on the 19th to the Birchmere guys, Gary and Michael. And on October 26th, this guy joins me. This is Bobby Thompson. Bobby Thompson is an exceptional artist. He's got a brand new self-titled album coming out this month that he produced himself. He's really come to solidify himself as a premier blues rock songwriter, performer, band leader. He was a Whammy winner in 2018 for Best Blues Album. My buddy Tommy Lepson is on his new record, who you heard Tommy's song at the beginning of the show tonight, The Social Distance Blues. Tommy seems to play with everybody. It's just incredible how incredibly wide swath he has for playing with people all over the place. But Bobby Thompson, very excited to join me on October 26th. So that's Marlene this Monday, then Soul Roots on the 12th, a chat with the Birchmere on the 19th, and Bobby Thompson on the 26th. Real quick, this week on ZTV, tomorrow night, Tuesday at 7 o'clock, Alison Priebe, who's the queen bee of Buzzworthy, will be chatting with professional interior designer Claire Schwab, and they'll be talking about how to spruce your home up a little bit, whether it's your home, your office, your school, your home living area, just lots of tips and tricks about home design and home refurbishing a little bit. Nothing, you can do stuff that doesn't really cost a lot or take a lot of effort, but you're going to talk to Claire about that. Wednesday night at 7, Gina Cavallaro has Gopal Bhatt of Dishes of India in the Bellevue Shopping Center, which is a long-time institution, most popular in the area. They've lasted through a lot of challenges, fires, floods, pandemics. And she is going to talk to Gopal about not only them and their business being able to continue, but also hearing of the family story about this restaurant and sharing a little bit about Indian cuisine. So don't miss that Wednesday night at 7 with Gina. And Thursday is Virginia Amos, and Virginia is going to welcome Melanie Runyon from Truly Life. They're the Delray-based urban garden that produces soups and soaps and soups and sorts of materials for home and garden, and they're amazing. Tune in and learn how this, it's a little business has planted its roots in this area and is really branching out in full bloom. So I think that's going to be a really, really exciting thing to see. But that's ZTV, and don't forget Lucello Flaherty and Susan Fleischman are out all the time live. I saw Susan today at a local store with socially distanced customers, and they were talking about Halloween and things like that. So it's really exciting to go on ZTV whenever you have a chance, because you're really going to find something very, very interesting. Living on Music is a production of Zebra Press. The executive producer is the one and only David McClure, and the Zebra Press publisher is Mary Wadland. You can visit the Zebra at zebra.org, and that's where you'll be able to see a number of the stories on a lot of ZTV shows. There's one right now on Living on Music. If you Google it, or it should pop up, kind of talks about this show and what we've been doing for musicians, which we've really been helping them kind of continue their lives a little bit and at least engage and talk and laugh and sing. So it's a really, really neat piece, and I appreciate the Zebra for doing that. And you can also find all these shows that we've been doing for Living on Music and everything else on the Good News Zebra Facebook page. So that's something where to go. The September 2020 edition of the Zebra newspaper is out now, but right on its heels coming out soon is the October 2020 edition. So you can get that all over town in different supermarkets, different red boxes where the Zebra is, or you can get a delivery. If you go online to zebra.org, you can find out how to get that delivered to your home. And I love to have that paper in my hand, as I say all the time. I'm just of that generation where we love having that. The September 2020 edition is out now, as I said. And again, go to zebra.org. Once again, I want to thank my guest tonight, the incredible Cindy Blackman Santana. And please, if you caught part of this show, we're obviously going to repost it. Go watch and tell her stories about playing with some of these giants of music. They've been spectacular. So again, for David McClure and the rest of the ZTV crew, if you have 5 free minutes, if you have 2 minutes, if you have an hour, any amount of time, please take some time and be the good news in someone's life. Take care.